Damn. It's waltzing in like that already. Good evening, everybody. What an exhausting day. Talk about a double dick punch. Whew. First time all playoffs facing elimination. It does not feel good, let me tell you. Stings bad. So, man, a disappointing one. You were in it, and I think my first reaction, my first come out of it is, and I know people are going to come in and flood in with their solutions and what they're mad at, and all that type of stuff. But I think first and foremost, I thought that the two most talented guys in the series played like it in the fourth quarter. So you give props to AD and LeBron. I thought that they were very, very good. I know a lot of people will probably think of a few things, I'm sure, from the Heat standpoint. Why isn't, Jimmy forcing the issue more in the fourth quarter? And, to that, I would say is that's just it's just not his natural thing. They put AD on him, so I think that did make things a little bit tougher for him because he did get off in the first quarter, got off to a really good start in the first quarter. And I know, from the standpoint of this team, tonight was why you saw, tonight you saw why you missed Goran Dragic. I thought it was as clear as day, when you're, rolling Kendrick Nunn out there for all those minutes, and it could be your all-star point guard. It's a huge loss. And I think they came into this knowing that you needed all your ponies to even really feel like you had a shot. And he's not there. He's been their leading scorer on the playoffs. And, Bam is, kind of working his way in after taking 2 days off. You're kind of just dropping him into the middle of the playoffs after they actually, for the last 2 games, had a really good offensive rhythm. Then they kind of threw a monkey wrench into that where, Kelly O's now back out of the rotation. And, it was tough. It was a tough performance. And a tough one to swallow at the end. Tough seeing Rondo and KCP blow by you for real dagger shots. That Anthony Davis dagger, I spit on that dagger. That one was, AD, tremendous player. But listen, it was you had one of those situations where he hits that three. Maybe Jimmy pulls a three out of his ass, like he has been at certain times in his playoffs, and he missed it. Other side, KCP hits it, swings all the way downhill from there, man. So it's a bummer. Especially just, this group has been, such an unbelievable story all season long, and they're in this situation for the first time. I'm sure it's got to be a weird situation, a weird gut punch, and all that type of stuff. But it's rough, man. It's rough. So let's get into it. I'll just get to your comments because my mind's kind of all over the place. It's very scattered right now. It's been a long day. I've been fighting Braves trolls all day. Losers. So yeah. Let's see. Scalabrini. I was actually on with Scalabrini today. I did Scallon Pals. Which, if I could just say, I did it with Zach Krantz, and Zach Krantz had the dumbest take ever because he was like, they were saying like, we were talking about like who's got more pressure on him, and I was like, it's so fucking obvious that he'd have more pressure on him. If they lose, the series is probably over. Like I get you get the point where it's like, if you let them in, it's a whole new series, and I made that point. But then he's like, yeah, so more pressure's on the Lakers. I'm like, no, it's not. There's no difference. You're now down 3-1. Is there more pressure now? Who's the pressure on? Silly. Butler let us down. They put a tough challenge on him, man. They, he had a good game tonight. He didn't have a great game. And if you were gonna have if you're gonna beat that team, and you're gonna beat if you're gonna beat that team, I really shouldn't say that, those two guys. I will say, like, their role players have showed up big time for them. So if you're going to beat that team, you need Jimmy Butler to be a great player tonight. He was a really good player. But that's, for any Heat fan that was, thinking that Jimmy was going to come in, be, this unstoppable force, like, LeBron couldn't do that, like in the 2015 in the 2015 finals, like, and he's LeBron, and Jimmy Butler's not LeBron. He's still really good. I love him to death, and I love having him on this team. I'm a Jimmy Butler fan for life, but yeah, he's got, as people point out, he's not a great shooter. He did that it's crazy. He had that entire performance without shooting a three. And so yeah, there's a couple things. Like, you take on a team with those two all-world talents, as good as they are, even with LeBron kicking it all over the place. I thought a little bit was too much was made of they were saying LeBron wasn't LeBron, you were only in this certain spot and LeBron only has this many points, and I wasn't, I thought LeBron was playing fine. The turnovers were kind of getting kicked all over the place. What did he finish with turnovers? Because what did he have, 5 in the first half? He only had 1 second half turnover. So yeah, so he really tightened up there. But I thought the big thing for him is, he spread the floor from downtown. Him and Anthony Davis were killing you from downtown. If those guys are on from downtown, Jesus Christ, like, good luck. Let's see, LJ Russell. Let me get you up here, man. I get to Jimmy getting his teammates involved, but damn, it frustrates me when he doesn't be aggressive. Then he gets passive. Then he has to know when his teammates struggle to turn it up. Yeah, look, I wish they would force the issue a little bit more too, but that's not natural to him. He was even, I think it was funny, he was actually saying after the game, they just did the post game, which will be up on the YouTube page if anybody wants to watch that. But he was actually saying that he thought he was on the ball too much. And I was like, I don't think you were. I thought it was working out pretty great. Especially when Kendrick Nunn was ending up with the ball in his hands. But yeah, it was a rough one. But he also, they made an adjustment. They threw AD on him a lot more. That's a big dude. He was great defensively. There's a reason why he's as good as he is. And I thought we saw that from Bam, Bam on a couple of times when they threw him out on LeBron, threw him in to get AD, and AD hit a couple of shots in his face, and LeBron hit a couple of shots in Jimmy's face. Like, those guys were great shot makers tonight. They really, really were. So there's that. And then, people are saying, like, Rosa said, well, Hero's been struggling with his shot. Yeah, and I think that, they're probably relying on him a little bit too much. It's tough. That's what they're having tonight is where you miss having Goran, because now you can put all that ball pressure. If they're looking for somebody to shot create, all that type of stuff, it now falls on this kid who, every time we see LeBron on anywhere near Tyler Hero, you just have to laugh out loud, because it looks like a child taking on his father. It's LeBron, who's a grown ass man on the other side of 35, and Tyler Hero, who's just out of his teens. So yeah, that kid still showed up in the fourth quarter with some ones to make it close again. His balls remain the biggest on the court. I love it. And that kid's got such a bright future, man. He really, really does. Let me see. Kevin from Chicago. I told you Goran was the most important player on this team, and people laughed at me. He's the best scorer on the team. Like, he's probably got the most offensive polish on the team, Kevin. I did think that they could win. I thought if they were going to win, I didn't think it was impossible for them to win this series. I was feeling very froggy after game 3. I was a little drunk. I didn't think it was impossible for them to win this series without Goran. But you definitely missed him tonight. his absence. I thought his absence tonight was the most you felt it in any game this series, for sure. Obviously, game one, it sucked that he wasn't there, but things got off the rails really quick. Game one, I almost wish the problem with this series is even if the Heat do end up losing in 5, I don't want the impression of this series to be that that first game, but I think it will. It probably nationally will be, because this was a close game today. This was a game that Heat were totally in the whole time, and the Lakers stars just showed up late. Just showed up in the key spots. They were awesome in the fourth quarter, but the Heat were game. The Heat were game, and I think you saw Bam look good. The one thing I would say, Bam looked good in the first half. Wish they got him a couple more touches in the second half to kind of keep it rolling with him. One thing with Bam that I also wish is, Bam's actually really good at defending without fouling. And the thing that I wish wasn't so noticeable is how much, though, he holds back when he gets 2 fouls in the first half. And I know that he knows that he's so important and all that type of stuff, but I think that, he just lets too many things slide by, and I think that builds bad habits. But, it's his first finals appearance, and obviously was doing all he could to get back out there. Scal, how do you feel about all the flopping Caruso, LeBron, and AD were doing and getting rewarded? Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's super frustrating. I think the one that was obviously most frustrating was, them calling Caruso, or biting on the Caruso flop for the Jimmy Butler move. And then, the LeBron move, like he shoves Tyler Hero out of the way. And it was funny because they're like, oh, that's a flop. And I didn't think it was a flop necessarily. I think he's just the size of LeBron's leg. But either way, if you aren't going to call that, and you're going to acknowledge that, Tyler Hero was out there, acting like a soccer player, I think you should do the same with Alex Caruso. So yeah, that was frustrating, and that was another big thing with if you want to talk about big swings in this too, is that they what was it, 2 fouls in the fourth quarter for the Lakers. That's a big one too, because that's a big part of the Heat's game, especially Jimmy's. Let me see, fourth quarter. Yeah, I mean, fourth quarter, you had 2 free throws, and it was a big part of it was a big part of the Heat's game the entire way throughout. It was a big part of their scoring tonight too, but not in the fourth. In the fourth, actually, it was Tyler Hero and his giant elephant balls hitting from downtown, kind of keeping you in it, even though he did hit that one backdoor cover at the end. So let's just call it 2 for 2, and with one to make it look nice. Dunks hit that crazy one off the glass. Jay Crowder hit one with that crazy sequence, and then Jimmy missed the one that was the big swing play. Swung it big. Let's see. Duncan Robinson defense god awful. Rather have injured Dragic out there in the fourth quarter than Robinson. Yeah, man. Duncan's not good at defense though. Like, and you don't have Goran, so I don't know. Daniel, give us our credit. I've been giving you your credit, man. They literally started off saying that the stream that I give LeBron and AD credit. They won, But most people are talking on the Heat side and yelling, Daniel. Nobody wants to hear. Go on a Sedano stream if you want to hear all your Lakers credit. I gave LeBron and AD credit. They were awesome. So, what else? Thomas, that Jimmy Butler 3-point attempt when the Lakers were down 98. Yep, I agree with that. That definitely swung the momentum of the game. Thought the couple of possessions where the Heat missed some offensive rebounds, which has definitely been a big bugaboo. I mean, the thing that honestly I probably whiffed on this series the most, because I really like all injuries aside, and the injuries matter, like, but I think that, the Lakers have just shot it a lot better, especially from downtown. I thought that, especially, fucking Markieff Morris and all this type of stuff. I was like, whoa. I thought that was going to be a big edge for the Heat in this series, and it really hasn't been that big. Really hasn't been that big. So, if anything, it's been funny. I felt like both of these teams have actually done a good job. I thought that for the most part, all series, that the Lakers have done a fantastic job taking away the Heat's threes, and the Heat, if they give up another three in that Ray Allen corner, my God, it feels like every time they're late, and even the times they're not late, they're still killing us on that corner three. So there's that. This guy's funny. Giannis's brother, the first to have a ring. That's funny. It's a funny thing to show him at Thanksgiving. They have Thanksgiving in Greece? How does that work? Lakers and Clippers aren't much of a team. They're both like teams that got assigned players to them in rec league. We have much better chemistry. The Heat have chemistry, but they have their talents all world, and I actually think their role players have played really well for them. Obviously it's LeBron, it's AD. Like you saw when AD had a shitty game, they they definitely struggled, but I thought that I think that they've showed up pretty good. Antonio, do you think Dragic plays next game? I really don't, man. I don't think he plays. It's a bad injury that he has. I think it's tough as balls that he's even out there warming up with Chris Quinn and trying to give it a go. He's such a Slovenian OG. I love that guy. But he's already, and he said this, like, I don't want to be a liability. He's already, not the swiftest laterally. A lot of his game, though, is burst, and that sounds like if you have a bad foot, that's not great. So, yeah. And yeah, I know, Antonio. Yeah, no, we need him. I'm aware. Thank you. I'm aware they need him. Danny, Nunn is a liability. I don't know what the hell happened to him. I don't either, man. I will say, like, Nunn was a very streaky player throughout the year. Feasted a little bit on bad teams. Definitely feasted on some bad teams. A lot of it is, I think, too. This is this doesn't get spoken of much, but it's tough being tiny in these playoff series, man. When things crunch down and inches matter, and it's a thing. And so I feel like, it felt very Bill Simmonsy. Sorry I said that. It's a thing. Bill Simmons, the ringer. But yeah, it seemed like, we see this with Kemba Walker. It feels like he gets into every playoffs, and he's he struggles a little bit. And Kanon, the thing that with Kanon that's strange, though, is he does get looks, and just everything is short. And so that it almost feels like he has just I don't want to call it like a broken stroke. He's almost got, like, I don't know if he's just doesn't have the same lift on his legs or whatever, because he obviously at his height gets up a little bit more, but he's it's been rough. And I don't have a good answer for that. That's a weird one. Why did he Let me get the final box score up. Scroll through this Heat thing. Oh, I guess I can just go to the top. I was on the fourth quarter only page. Sorry, guys. Like, why does Kendrick play? Like, a lot of people mentioned Myers. Like, why did Myers get minutes? And I'm not surprised by that Myers didn't get minutes. But Kelly, Kelly was really, I know what Kelly's liabilities are, right? We all know he could be a bit of a stiff offensively. But he is a very good scorer. He has polish there. Definitely can help you with some rebounding at certain times. Him and Jimmy had a thing going for the next, for the last couple of games, and he played 14 minutes. So if I were to look at the rotation and say, well, what was the oddest thing to me that really stands out? It would be Kelly Olynyk played 12 and a half minutes after really helping you win a game, and really, even the game beforehand, kept you in it. I mean, the Heat were really good offensively in game 2. And, 12 minutes is nothing. And you have Kendrick Nunn out there playing 26 minutes, 2 of 11. So I don't know. He hit those 2 threes. So maybe Spo was hoping like somebody was going to break through from downtown and have a big game, because, that's the one they haven't had that, really from anybody this series. Tyler was 3 of 7, but he was, I really want to call it 2 of 6 because that last 3 was in garbage time. Duncan was 3 of 6. One of them was off the fucking glass. Jay was 2 of 7 tonight. And, that was just it. I'm telling you, it was just such an important weapon for him. And then Goran's obviously, a really good shooter that they don't have either. So I don't know if he was looking for hoping Kendrick to be a bit of a floor spacer, but, it felt like he got the ball and was just like rolling, ended up in tough spots and just, and yeah, I think it's a difference when he throws up junk and he's 6 foot and Tyler's 6'5" and he throws up junk. Tyler make a wackadoo floater over Anthony Davis. So, yeah. He coming back. Fuck the media. Fuck the Lakers. I like that guy. That guy's the guts. Love you, JJ. Shout out to you. Carlos Heaton 7. Love you, man. Rather have Nunn than Robinson on defense. He's really not, Kevin. He's not better on defense. First of all, he's smaller. I think we've seen some things with Nunn where with Duncan where like he's positionally getting himself better. Like, look, talking about standing in front of somebody, I get maybe you want to say Kendrick Nunn's better. But I don't really think so. I think they're both pretty bleh. And that was the thing too, those 2 big layups at the end of the game, KCP and then Rondo. I'm trying to remember which one was the one that was they blew past Duncan, and then Bam was that was Rondo. Bam was kind of there, maybe he was playing for pass. I kind of wish that Bam I think could have had an opportunity to do something there. But I think that showed something that those 2, those role guys, big day for clutch. Jesus. KCP, LeBron and AD. Rich Paul's sans pants today. Probably sending hog shots to Pat Riley. But fuck was I saying? Oh, I know. I just think that, I thought that those 2 guys, really just took the Heat, initial defenders off the ball. They're just like, F it. These guys stink. We're going to turnstile them. And that's that. So, yeah, man. Not a Heat fan, just a basketball fan, but it feels like the Heat are a piece away from winning. They're a great team, young team. They can get one more guy. It'll be over the hump. It's going to be an interesting offseason for the Heat. I think that you have a very interesting scenario that you had this run. And I don't, people are, going to probably look at the East this year and they'll sit next year and be like, oh, Boston's talented. They'll keep it going. And Milwaukee's going to do their last little run back with Giannis. It's going to fail unless like they trade for Chris Paul or something like that. That might help. I don't know if they can pull that off. Then you got, who knows? Brooklyn's a straight wild card for me because I don't know what the hell is going to go on there. But being a piece away, I think it's going to be interesting seeing the development of your 2 young guys that were awesome, and Tyler and Bam, I think they'll bring back Goran. It's going to be interesting with the whole mechanism. The other thing that's weird about this is like, who knows when we're going to be back with basketball? I think that's the thing that sucks. They're saying January, but I remember reading quotes from the Heat president Eric Woolworth where he was like, "Yeah, we don't want to come back, the league unless we can have fans back." And shit, man, who knows when that's going to be? Who knows? Let's see. Nobody gives a damn about the Heat. He's on this YouTube stream. Weird. That's a weird guy. Tyler's a liability on defense. Yeah, he's also 20. There's like, look, for guys who haven't, like, if you haven't been tuned in with the Heat, like, the reason they bust out things like the zone is because they have a lot of liabilities on defense. Like, their two best players are their two best defenders. LeBron, Jimmy and Bam are a lot like what if the Laker people are like with Bam and LeBron are their best defenders. But obviously, like, LeBron is LeBron and has a lot in his offensive bag, and so does Anthony Davis, one of those polished, it probably is the most polished offensive big out there. Bam's 23 in his first starring role, and Jimmy Butler is obviously a guy who likes to do a lot of little things and isn't comfortable being the dominant offensive scorer a lot of times like he was in Game 3. But the rest of them, like, they added Jay and Andre. But if they're not hitting their shots, they're kind of one-way players. Goran has never been a God's gift to defense, and neither has Duncan, and neither is Tyler. Tyler's 20, so you give him a little pass. Duncan's, I think made some strides. Like, I don't think there's been, Duncan was making some plays on defense, which has been good because there were, times in this playoffs where, like, you could not play him. And so I respect that he's actually feel like he's built on some things as these playoffs have gone. I really, really do. But you need a lot more, and this is for the championship, and these are when teams can get really good at exposing you, especially when you have a cerebral assassin like LeBron James on. So, yeah, man. But it's also been huge that they it's also been huge that they got to go and not have to face the Heat at full strength. They really haven't. I mean, you guys can call an excuse. I don't really give a shit. It's a reason. Maybe they would win anyway. But that's but it's the truth. I thought that, if you're rolling out there Kendrick Nunn for, half the game today, and it could be Goran Dragic for 3/4 of the game, it's a big swing for talent. Especially when the game shrinks and you're looking for key shots and all that type of stuff. So that's that. Do. Let's see. I'd take Dragic over Nunn on one leg right now. Yeah. Let me see. Miami sports culture. He'd have done so well at this point. Very proud of this team. Sets up for the great future. I disagree on your Nunn assessment. What part of it? Miami sports culture. I don't know. I said a lot of things about Kendrick Nunn today. Most of them negative. Is you're just feeling that he can be a lot better? Maybe, like, listen, a lot of people love the spark plug offensive guard, the ball in his hands. Look, he's done some masterful stuff. This was an awesome story for Kendrick Nunn. I just, I really, like, I don't see the time where a guy is going to be like your go-to guy down the road for the Heat. Like, we'll see. I don't think Kendrick Nunn's going anywhere. He's still going to be on the team. The guy works his ass off. He's he's not like he's not going to be a malcontent or anything like that. He's actually, I think, held his head on pretty straight the entire way. And maybe it is a case like he just never got back in that full rhythm, but there were, I mean, people watched the Heat this year. Like there were definitely games with Kendrick Nunn. You're just like, oh, all right, let's settle down on Kendrick Nunn having the ball at the end of this thing. Ring or no ring is number 7 going to the Raptors at the AAA. I think it is now, man. I thought that maybe Goran needed a ring, but I'm starting to think he doesn't. I think that his run has been long enough, meaningful enough. Timmy doesn't have a ring. He's up there. I know that Timmy's one of the early icons of this franchise, but I just feel like the more years Goran plays, the more respect that he's getting, especially in a weird way this year away from Dwayne, and CB has given him like this almost like OG status, just a guy who stuck with it. And I really wish that, he'd have this opportunity to be out there fighting for the ring that he's been fighting for a dozen years. It sucks. Let's see. What about Glenn to the Raptors? Yeah, I'm cool with Glenn Rice going to the Raptors. Let's see. Jimmy Butler's a fraud carried by some of you guys are trip, man. Let's see. There were a couple of things I wanted to address, but the comments are flying in real quick. I'm trying to find where they were. Let's see. Fuck it. Let's just go back to the new ones. All right. Tobin, how about Aaron Baines? What ifs, man? I'm not in the mood about talking. Dude, I'm not talking about Aaron Baines right now in the NBA Finals. You want to talk some orcas, I'll talk. I'm not talking about Aaron fucking Baines right now. Jose, got to focus one game at a time. Heat in 7. Love you, bro. I think they're gassed. Jimmy's playing 40 a minute now. I definitely think 2 days off is going to help. And I don't think it's, I think it's definitely possible because of, I think we've seen the Lakers play a little bit, they're a little bit switchy, like a little bit on and off. I definitely think Game 5 is up for grabs. I definitely think that you give Jimmy a couple days off and, you could probably do one of those, shoulder the load offensively a little bit more. Can he keep it up? If it were to go to 6, can he keep that up for another? It's probably a big ask. But I don't, it's one of those things. I don't see them, just lying down. It's just not their style, dude. It's just not the style of this team. So yeah. And Pavida is out. Prayers up, Heat in 7. Shout out. Tobin, how would you assess Duncan Robinson? Most people think that he's performed badly in the finals, but I like him as a future piece, along with Hero, Jimmy, Bam, and Nunn. I think that I would assess him that I think his entire playoffs has been a little bit of a letdown. But I think he probably built a very, very high standard for himself coming in, probably more so than any of the young guys. There are people, me included. Listen, I was on the Duncan Robinson. I built the Duncan Robinson bandwagon, okay? I was making songs for this guy when he was wearing number 62 in the summer league. So I want some street cred when I say this, but I think that one of the things that I feel with Duncan, a lot of this stuff is, I'm mostly talking about the offensive stuff. I know what the defensive liabilities are with him, although, like I said earlier in the stream, I think he's building on some things and it's getting better. And by the way, Duncan Robinson, I mean, what his body was year one with the Heat to this year was great. And I'd like to see what that looks like even more. I guess you don't technically get a full off season of training, but my point being is the guy can make some leaps. He really, really can. And I think that he made such an impression on things that people have really made a focal point that they were not going to let Duncan Robinson get off. All year has been a bit of a first half player. And that like Duncan Robinson's most dangerous in games, really blowing him out early, getting out to a big lead. That's always been where he's at his MO. For the Heat, the most crunch threes have always been made by Tyler, even back in the regular season. That's how it was for them. So my assessment is he had an incredible year. I think that for him, there's definitely a lot of like, do I belong here? I feel like that still goes on with him. Now, I'll tell you what, it's been probably rough on Dunks. This fucking guy can't get a call. Like you see some of the bullshit ticky-tack stuff that some of these shooters get. And I think as his respect grows in the league, he's going to get called for, he's going to get more of that stuff like he got today with a 3-point call. Because he doesn't get anything called his way. And I think a lot of the young guys will probably get more of the respect that Jimmy does. And Jimmy's getting excellent, so excellent at drawing fouls and things like that. But, that's one thing that I think will help him in playoff series. But, it's another thing too. Like he's always asked, I almost wonder, like, do people tell him too much? Like, shoot it, Dunk, shoot it. Like, is he almost being told it too much where it like messes with his head? So yeah, I would say like out of these playoffs, I was thinking like, man, this is going to be like the Dunk part. There was, there's been some games like he's had a couple of games where he rolled out there and shot 6, but there's been, games where he's had good looks and it just, if you would give Duncan Robinson that look in the regular season, you're fucking done. And just hasn't equated the same. Now I know that happens with a lot of shooters, but one of the things that I thought was going to translate for him that was going to be good was, Dunks did a really good job this year moving off ball, finding space for himself. Not necessarily creating a dribble, not like James Harden, but like guy gets the first initial on him, dribbles to the side, makes a move. And, I feel like he's almost turned into very catch and shoot in the playoffs. And I think that needs to improve. But I think he can still be really, really good. Really, really good. Yeah. All right. I'm just trying to see. I'm kind of scoping through your guys' comments here, see if there's anything else. Because I am sleepy today, and I gotta be I can't get you a mid nap tomorrow because these, I got the game. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad this was mentioned. Although Bruiser, thanks for the comment, dude. I actually meant to click on this one. Braves fans are inseparable. And MLB fans who assume it was intentional is just dumb. Well, there's a couple of things. I do want to mention this. If I could be allowed a little bit of a Braves rant here, okay? First of all, Braves fans can go to hell, all right? You guys puff out your chest way too goddamn much for one championship for your city. I mean, for Christ's sake, since the Marlins have existed, they've doubled you up. And you act like division titles mean anything. They don't. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody can. Tell me how many division titles the Yankees have. Tell me how many division titles the Cardinals have. You can't. The only team that ever flaunts their division titles is the Atlanta Braves because that's all they have. All they have is that run of beating the NL East for all these years, which, by the way, has been filled with the Mets, the Expos / Nationals, who finally won a World Series last year. The Phillies are wishy-washy, so like that's your stiffest competition probably over this time, and the Mets. And like it's almost like, it's almost like the Patriots being in the division with the Dolphins, Jets, and Bills. Like, you'd almost have to. It's like, yes, give them their credit, but like you'd have to be almost a fucking moron not to win that division. Here's the difference, though: the Patriots have 6 goddamn Super Bowls. Okay, the Braves have 1 championship, which means they've been lapped by the Marlins in championships. Okay, so let's get to today with Ronald Acuna. Now, Ronald Acuna is a tremendous, really good player. He is, as far as offense goes, the Marlins' daddy. I'll wear that. He is. He's in, Ryan Howard, Chipper Jones territory as far as dominating the Marlins. He is unbelievable. However, he is, and I cannot stress this enough, a hot dog and prima donna. All right. This dude causes so much drama by himself every single, and this is like not a thing of, oh, people say, oh, you don't like the flair of the Latin guys, but dude, you don't know who you're talking to. I fucking love it. I would love it if somebody shot a rocket out their ass every time they hit a home run. I would love that in baseball. Trust me. All right. That's just you taking some things off of tweets and you being all your feelings. And by the way, you're the same hocus pocus loser fan base that was yelling at Jose Fernandez for acting the way he did when he was pimping shots and striking your ass out. That's neither here nor there. Has nothing to do with him bat flipping. The problem with him is he is a drama queen when it comes to getting hit. Okay. I'm sure getting hit by 97 mile an hour is no bueno. It's no fun. I'm sure it sucks. All right. And him getting in this beef with Urania all these years, no bueno. I get you. Urania did it one time, clearly did it on purpose, doesn't like him. And it was a couple years ago. Seemed like all tensions kind of died down and whatnot. Then it happens again in a game this year in the middle of the year, right? And he's like shouting at Jose Urena, who clearly didn't do it on purpose. There was no reason for him to hit him. He goes, every time. He can't just ever just walk down the fucking first base, take his base, and move on. He likes it. He likes the instigating, and maybe you could say, hey, he is going out there and he's using it as a spark for his team. That's fine. But to me, it's being a crybaby and him whining nonstop. Let's get to today. Okay. Sandy Alcantara gives up a Jimmy Jack to him in the first inning. Okay, fine. The Marlins, they go out to a lead. They take a 4-1 lead. Miggy Rowe goes deep. They tack on a few more. Acuna comes up again. Gets one right in the keister at 97. Okay. Sure, it hurts. Okay. But it wasn't going. He didn't aim at his fucking head. Okay. First of all, he didn't, take out he hit him right. If you are going to hit somebody, you hit him right where you hit him, right in the rump roast. All right. Right in the butt. And this guy, but he's crowding the plate all over the place. And the only reason it's a thing at all is because he makes it a thing every single time. Sandy Alcantara is not Jose Urena. Okay. And all you Braves fans, maybe you know him because you play in the division with him, or all these national people who want to just pick on the Marlins because they're an easy target. Sandy Alcantara was a fucking baller, okay? Dude was an all-star. He's the team's ace, all right? He's fantastic. And you guys won on Gorks and seeing eye ground balls today off of him, okay? Got the hard luck loss because Yimmy Garcia comes in there and he's running a meatball shop in the middle of the NLDS. Thanks, Yimmy. But there's no reason at all that Sandy Alcantara is trying to hit Ronald Acuna. But Ronald Acuna is a crybaby, okay? He's look at me, and he wants to make it a thing just because he wants to make it a thing. He has no history with Sandy Alcantara. He has a history with the Marlins. But, like, dude, you really think there's this you really think in the middle of the NLDS, like, Sandy Alcantara is going to want to put somebody on? Your own manager, who also, Snitker, you are, just a floundering gas bag all the time. You're right there with them. Because the funny thing is, this franchise, they talk about unwritten rules left and right. But man, just that, the crying and the whine. You look like LeBron begging for fouls today. Oh, it's just nonstop bitching from you guys all the time. And so Snitker goes and makes this scene just because, I guess he's caving for his guy. He's sticking up for him, but there's no reason to stick up for him. He could just go to first base. And he's getting pissed about warnings. The only reason there's a warning is because Ronald Acuna is out there and he's trying to make it a thing with Sandy Alcantara. Here's the other thing. Ronald Acuna, he's going and spikes up on Miguel Rojas. You guys want to call it retaliation? Fine. You want to call it retaliation, but don't act like you're some innocent bystander. So anyway, the other thing is all the Braves fans are in their feelings because they feel like they're so above it, and they're not. You're not the Cardinals, dude. You don't have 10 World Series. You have one. All right? One championship. You pissed away a generational rotation. All right? Chipper Jones' career was a massive disappointment winner-wise for as good as that guy was. And this is what you got here. You're up 1-0, and I would think of any city, Atlanta would taper it back a little bit when it comes to a 1-0 lead because nobody chokes away leads like Atlanta. Nobody in any sport. And yet here you are just sitting here thinking, oh, we are God's gift to baseball. Bless us, the Braves. It's like, all right, man. Okay. So, look, glad you got Ronald Acuna. Fantastic player for you. But he's very showboaty. He's look at me. He escalates all this stuff all the time. All right. This wasn't a thing. He made it a thing in the spring when Arena hit him. All right. Wasn't on purpose, but he wanted to bitch about it. He made it a thing today when Sandy Alcantara hit him. He wanted to make it a thing. Your own manager, by the way, who knew he acted like a doofus, afterwards said he didn't hit him on purpose. And by the way, here's the funny thing about Ronald Acuna. All right. Guy goes, this is very LeBron of him. He goes afterwards in the postgame. He goes, I don't even want to think about it anymore. We're not even going to talk about it. Meanwhile, then he goes off and he's like, got to tweet about it. Got to Instagram about it. So it's really not out of your thought process because you like it. You like it. You like instigating and you like having this be a thing. So that's my rant. I'll have more of it in the morning, but F them. So anyway, I think I'm going to end on that. We'll have the show tomorrow. 6 a.m. on the Ticket Miami, everybody. You guys can listen live and check us out there. If you missed any of the show, download the podcast, of course. Radio.com is where you go get that. I will show you what that app looks like right now. So if you guys could go to the radio.com app right here. Radio.com. Boom. So you click on that and look for our radio program, which is JPSA. It's loading. It's loading. I swear it works. I'm trying to do some advertisement for my fucking podcast. Let's go. There's $7.90 the ticket. Awesome advertisement. Yeah. Download these two podcasts, Tobin and Leroy, Fighters Fury. Those are my radio shows. They're also available on Apple Podcast, wherever podcasts are available, Google Play. I think basically everything except for Spotify. They're like a competitor. So if you guys could do that, much appreciated. If you guys just want to subscribe to the YouTube page, that'd be great too. Look up. We got these post games. We're doing more of this live stuff. I really enjoy interacting with you guys. And we'll have some more segments up there as well. So, anywho, look, we're gonna bounce. Gonna lick our wounds. Might have another beer before I go to sleep. Be up for 6. Be ready for game 2 tomorrow. Pablo Lopez gonna shut the Braves' ass down. You know it's coming. And then we'll cleanse ourselves. Heat her off tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow off, not from the show. I mean, just like mentally from the heat. And then, yeah, bro, I'm feeling fat and sassy, mostly fat. And yeah, I'm just gonna end this. I don't know how to end these things. Anyway, love you guys.